Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to have you with me today. I wanted to just show you personally the scrappiest little scrappy quilt in the world. I mean, truly, truly scrappy. It's made with the tiniest strips and strings. Just look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. I just love it. I haven't finished it yet. I'm still in the process of tying it. I've got maybe a third of it done now in the tacking and tying part of it. And I've, started the binding too. I'm not doing mitered corners. I'm just doing straight corners so I can bind as I finish the side. And that's what I've done here on this top piece. But I just wanted to tell you that if you're looking for a scrappy quilt, this is wonderful. If you don't have a sewing machine or you don't want to bend over a sewing machine all day, if you don't want to stand at the table, if you're like me and you cannot stand and cut at a cutting table pieces all day long for traditional quiltings and things like that, then this is the quilt for you, because you're going to absolutely pull out of your scraps. If you're going to cut or tear just little pieces of fabric, a pair of scissors, excuse me, is all you need for that, and a needle and thread. Basically, that's it. And some scrap batting or batting period, whatever filler you want. It's made in small sections, and then those sections are attached in a very easy manner that you can do sitting at your desk. And then as the quilt grows, you can see it's gorgeous, okay? I am just so proud of this quilt. It even surpassed my expectations. So, and it's all hand sewn. Every bit of it is hand sewn. And I started this quilt in December, so I'm 2 months into it, but then I run a YouTube channel and a home. So, I'm not quilting every hour of my day. And so I just want to recommend it to you for a scrappy quilt project that anyone can do, okay? All right. Now, I also wanted to encourage you to check around my YouTube channel. While I'm talking to you, I'm going to be making some sashing pieces that are out of not old, but scrappy batting strips and snippet cuts, okay? This is going to be the sashing for my new owl quilt. Owlicious, it's called. But if you'll look around the YouTube channel, you'll see that I've got, I believe, five what I call the Wild and Free Quilting Series. And the reason I named it that is because it's non-traditional. It's done very scrappy. It's done with the philosophy that I like to use, that is perfectly imperfect is perfect for me. And in fact, I'm always telling people, just do you very well, and that'll be enough, because you're the only one that you have to please. And so if you do you very well, you're happy with what you do. And when you're happy with what you do, you're likely to continue doing it, to do more of it. And so you don't give up on your projects because they're not perfect, okay? So perfect isn't where it's at. Plus, if you look around a little bit, you'll notice that everything I do here is with scraps, okay? Very seldom do I use a piece of fabric that isn't a scrap. Occasionally I might, but most of the time they're scraps of some kind. And so I have 5 of these Wild and Free quilts going. And I also have a Scrappy pouch challenge going this year. I think I've got 4 or 5 of those made so far this year. And we're making those out of scraps, whatever we have. I've been using a lot of my home decor sample swatches in making that, and some burlap gift bags that I had a stash of that I couldn't figure out anything else to do with. And I'm finding out they are making tremendous project bags with this Scrappy Pouch challenge. So check that out too. And there's just all kinds of good stuff. If you look around the channel, because under the playlist where the power of scraps to transform, there are tons of projects under there using scraps. So just spend some time, look around. I know you're going to find some things that you really, really would love to do. And as I said, the latest, the newest quilt is called the Alicious quilt, and isn't that kind of a crazy sashing? It's uneven. It's got stuff hanging over the edges. You'll have to stick around and watch how I use these and attach these. And but basically all my quilts in the Wild and Free series are constructed the same way. So if you can make one, you can make all of them, should you wish to do so. My goal is to come up with 12 designs throughout this year, if possible, and it may extend into next year. Getting mine finished definitely will, but I wanted to have lots of interesting little quilts. Now I do all lap size quilts that if you were really wanting to do something, a hand sew a quilt using just scraps, you could find a wonderful set of instructions here on a dedicated playlist for that quilt. So keep that in mind, okay? If you find value here, if you find inspiration, you find things you like, please subscribe. I love that. I love seeing my subscriber numbers go up because I know that I'm reaching people out there just like me. You may not be as old as I am. You may not have all this gray hair, but you love scraps, you love fabric, you love creating, you like doing things out of the box, you like perfectly imperfect things. And that's exactly who I'd love to reach on this YouTube channel. So don't be bashful. Subscribe and stick around. And let's see what we can make together. Okay? Until next time, remember, stay scrap happy. How are you coming on your strips and strings quilt? I am on my, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm starting my 5th row of tack tying with my purple up here. And that's going to be about 1/4 of the quilt tacked and tied. But I thought what I wanted to do today was to show you how I'm going to bind this quilt. I've said before that I'm going to use a knit material, and I am. I had this scrap of material. It was cut in approximately 3-inch strips. It is a knit. You can see that it has stretch in it, and that it has greens and yellows and oranges and reds. And so I thought, well, you know, this is such a colorful quilt that this would work perfect. And so, and the 3 inches was perfect. Now it's not cut perfect. The strips go anywhere from probably about 2 1/4 to 3 inches, but that's okay because that's really all I need. And so let me show you what I did with this. Okay, I put my strips right side down on the right side of my quilt, just like that, right to the edge. Then I sewed about more than a quarter, less than a half, so about 3. What's that? 3/8. Anyway, about that. I just eyeballed it. What looked good to me. What covered the stitching that I did. I wanted to come down far enough to do that. So it was about that. Let's see. I can get this better for you. Yep. Almost a half. Just shy of a half. So, you know, anywhere in there, 3/8 to a half is good. And I sewed that down along that line, and then I turned it, wrapped it over to the back side, and pinned that. Okay, that's what you see right here. It's all wrapped over. Okay. Then on the back side, I took what was left and I turned it under, just eyeballed that to about the same width all the way down. That looks like about an inch, maybe an inch and an eighth, something like that. And I just turned that edge under so that I will have a finished edge. It's going to be wider on the back, of course, and it will look good from the back side as well. Okay. Now, being stretchy isn't a problem. In fact, it actually works with you, I think. This knit is pretty much, it's a one-directional stretch. It doesn't stretch this way, but it stretches this way. So it's stable, and it's a pretty heavyweight knit also. This is actually a vintage. I've had this forever. I think it's vintage, let's put it that way. I bought it at an estate sale, and I don't know what they were doing with it all in strips like this, but anyway, it works for me. And I've been waiting for the perfect thing to use it on, and guess what? This strips and strings is the perfect project for this. Okay, isn't that going to be pretty? That orange on that blue. And doesn't it just blend pretty with the front of this quilt? I mean, really. I think that's going to be a perfect binding. And now I will hand sew this along this seam here, and then I will turn it over and sew it here, and I may come back and sew it here most probably to give me to make sure that it doesn't roll or anything like that. Keep it stable. Okay, I love it. I love it. So I wanted to show you the binding just in case some of you might be further along on your quilt than I am, and you're ready to bind, and you're just, you know, looking for an idea of what to use or what to do it with. And so if you've got knit dresses, t-shirts, shirts, anything that is made out of a substantial, good quality knit, and isn't, especially if it only stretches one direction, that's pretty good because it's more stable. If it stretches in every direction, it can really cause you too much trouble that way. But if you have it and you want to use it, don't be afraid to use the knit on this because it works perfect. I've done it before, and the knit works just fine. Okay. All right, so I just wanted to show you that, and I'm going to sew that on there so I can get rid of the pins because I don't want to fight the pins as I work on my tacking, but that way the top of my quilted will be totally encased, and I am not mitering edges, okay? My grandmother didn't miter hers, and I'm not going to miter mine. They'll just be squared edges, okay? corners, not edges, but simple squared corners, one over the other. All right, so there she be. She's coming along, isn't she? Not going to be too long till my husband can actually use it to keep warm. That's a good feeling for me. Till next time, if you haven't pulled out your strips and strings, it's time. And by all means, stay scrap happy.